The Financial Times reporting China has dispatched teams of customs officers to major ports to screen semiconductor shipments. It's an effort to make sure that local firms in China keep to regulatory guidance and stop importing NVIDIA's China-specific chips. Earlier this week, we spoke to NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang about winning the AI race.
In order to win the AI race, you need to have all of the world's AI developers to be building on your platform. Just as we would, if you're an app store, you would like all of the apps to run on your app store. If you're an operating system, you would like all the world's applications to run on your operating system. If you were a chip, an American tech stack, you want all of the world's AI developers to developing on your American tech stack. That's true whether we're here in the United States or whether it's developers in China.
Joining us right now is Republican Congressman John Moolenaar. He is the chairman of the China Select Committee. And Congressman, welcome. Thank you for being with us today. I know you saw that interview and you wanted to respond to it. What did you take away from it, and what are your thoughts on this matter?
Well, I think it's important to note I'm in agreement that we want to see American technology dominate throughout the world, and AI is certainly at the forefront of that. But I would say in the free world, because I don't believe that we need to be partnering with Russia, North Korea, China, Iran in these areas, because what they do, especially in the case of China, is they steal our best technology and then they leverage whatever advantage they have. And Jensen is finding that out, where they're denying access to their chips in China. We've seen China come out just yesterday with a brutal policy that would withhold rare earth elements and magnets that are so key to our American economy. And so I'm in agreement that we want to have our technology exported around the free world, but we have to recognize that our adversaries are not working with us in this, and we are actually competing with them.
Yeah, I kind of look at it as two sides, where China is trying to limit access to rare earths. We are trying to do the best we can to join mining companies, take stakes for the American government in those companies and promote that so we can get to a point where we don't rely on them. They're doing the same thing with their chip companies right now, where they're not only saying you can't be using the China-specific chips from NVIDIA and others, but they are going, as of this latest report on this, that there's a real crackdown on things coming from this. The FT's reporting. They're also saying that they're trying to finally, for the first time, go after NVIDIA chips that are being smuggled into the company. They've never done that before. They've always kind of looked the other way. What does that tell you about the state of things? They want their companies to be less reliant on American chips no matter what.
I think they're leveraging everything they possibly can to coming into this possible meeting in October with President Trump. I view this yesterday's announcement by China and the Chinese Communist Party as a Sputnik moment for America. You know, in 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, a satellite into space, and what we realized is they are trying to show the world that they are going to dominate economically, militarily, technologically, and that's what China's doing right now by leveraging what they will buy and what they will sell in an effort to really hinder our economy. You know, some have called this economic warfare, a Pearl Harbor moment for our economy. What to me it says is we need all hands on deck to win this competition, and we need people to stop treating China like it's a normal country in the economy. They don't deserve the normal trade relationship status. They are not a developing country. They are leveraging everything they possibly can against the United States and the world order that we have benefited from.
After the United States imposed export controls on chips, we did see an increase in other countries selling chips to China, the Netherlands and Tokyo in particular. I guess you've got ASML from the Netherlands and Tokyo Electron from Japan. What can you do about this if other countries that we're allies with don't follow along with what we're doing on this point? To Jensen's point, doesn't this get us to a point where we fall further and further behind if American architecture isn't being used around the globe?
Well, I think you make a great point that we need to work with our allies in this, and that includes Japan, and includes the Netherlands. we did a report recently on our committee, an investigation that showed that of the semiconductor manufacturing equipment, the leaders in this are all selling into the Chinese market, and from 2022 to 2024, that was their largest market. What they also have to recognize, however, is that those technologies will one day be used against them, and they are going to try and drive those businesses out of business because they have a massive subsidy program with an effort to drive out other businesses. And so I believe the free world should be working together, selling with common standards, export controls, working together to make sure we win this race for the free world.
The idea that China is not only saying they don't want the China-approved chips from NVIDIA and the like, that they're trying to say we don't want any chips, even the ones that are being illegally smuggled into this company. Does that tell you that they've got more faith in where the Chinese chip sector already is, that they think they're not going to fall behind on the AI front, even if they're relying on homegrown chips?
Well, what it shows me is that the businesses who rely on those chips want the NVIDIA chips. The Chinese Communist Party does not. They are trying to leverage this for political purposes. And if there was ever an important point that your viewers want to be aware of, is that there isn't a private sector in China. It's all controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. And whatever their policies at the moment are going to drive whatever their businesses will do. And so you see this tremendous leverage being exerted by the Chinese Communist Party to try and defeat the United States. And these businesses who would love to have the H20 chips from NVIDIA are being denied that because it doesn't fit the Chinese Communist Party's profile.
So what do you think of NVIDIA chip sales to the UAE that I think just went through this week? It looks like those have been approved at this point. It looks like the Trump administration is opening more ways for NVIDIA to sell its chips around the globe. Are you on board with that? Are you opposed to that? Do you worry that chips get sold to the UAE or somewhere else and eventually wind up in China?
Well, I think it's an important question. We do want them buying NVIDIA's chips, but we also have to have safeguards, guardrails to ensure that those technologies, whether it's data centers, other access to our best technology, does not fall into the hands of our adversaries. And as President Reagan used to say, trust but verify. We need to make sure that we are working with reliable partners who will protect that from infiltration into China, because ultimately we know there is smuggling going on. There are other problems associated with it. But if we have the guardrails, it can be a win-win where our technology provides the infrastructure and we work with like-minded people that want to see freedom and prosperity.